And I'm going to read to you a little bit about one of their assignations. When he sneaks off to see her in her boudoir, very late at night. Her husband is away in China, so it's not really as dangerous as you might think. Mrs. Burnham helped Zachary peel off his clothes and led him to the bed, which was covered with towels. When he was lying on his back, with his head propped up against a bank of pillows, she turned to her bedside table and picked up a small bowl. Placing it on his chest, she said, "Careful now, Mr. Reed. You mustn't move or there'll be a dreadful spill." Zachary was half filled with perfumed oil, amber in color. Submerged in the oil was something that looked like a child's stocking, except that it was made not of cloth but of a transparent material and was fitted with a ribbon of red silk at the open end. The ribbon had been artfully arranged to hang over the lip of the bowl so that it hung free of the oil. Now, pinching the ribbon between her fingertips, Mrs. Burnham lifted the sock out of the bowl and held it up so that the oil dripped off the tapered end in a thin trickle, pooling between the ridges of Zachary's abdomen. "Do you know what this is, Mr. Reed?" His eyes widened. "Is it? Could it be a French letter?" She boxed his ear playfully. "Oh, you are too coarse, Mr. Reed. Let us call it a capote, a topcoat for our brave sepoy, so that he shall never again have to suffer the ignominy of shooting his ghoulies into the air." She stooped to give Zachary a long, slow kiss. "I know how hard it has been for you, my dear, to so often deny yourself a proper spending. Your sacrifice has weighed heavily on me, and you cannot imagine how glad I am that you will not have to do it again." Zachary was touched, as much by the tenderness in her voice as by her gesture. "This is thoughtful of you, Mrs. Burnham. Was the capote hard to get?" "Exceedingly, because I had to be so very discreet. Suffice it to say that on Free School Street there lives an Armenian midwife who is now considerably the richer." "It was expensive then?" "Capotes are only $1 apiece in England, but here they cost twice as much, a whole rupee for one, and I got a few dozen of them so that they will last us a while yet." "Have you ever used one before?" He shook his head. "Nor have I any experience of them," she said, "but I will do my best to fit it correctly. You can help by lying on your back and holding your sepoy at attention." Crawling across the bed, she climbed over his leg and positioned herself between his thighs. "I am told," she said, "that capotes are made from lamb's intestines. Is it not diverting, Mr. Reed, to think that the animal that fills our bellies with mutton at dinner can also afford us this other service at night?" She held up the length of intestine and slowly pried its lips apart, dribbling a thin trickle of oil down his stomach and groin. Then followed a few minutes of fumbling as she tried to slip the sock into place. "It's a slippery business, Mr. Reed, and our sepoy is making it no easier with all his twitching and quivering. Can he not be made to understand that this is no time to practice a bayonet drill?" Her face had sunk deep between his legs now, and he could see only her brow. A frown appeared on it as she concentrated on the ribbon. "Oh, I have made a mess of it and must use my teeth to undo the knot. Hold still, Mr. Reed, do not move." He was aware of the nipping of her teeth and the puffing of her breath. It blew on him like a warm breeze gusting against a flagpole. Throwing his head back, he groaned, "Oh, Mrs. Burnham, please be done, or I shall be fetched and finished." "On no account! Hold your fire!" He felt the flight of her fingertips again, and then she gave a little squeal of delight. "Oh, Mr. Reed, I wish you could see the pretty little bow I have tied for you. I am tempted to fetch you a looking glass so that you may admire it." "No, please, enough." "Well, I assure you, my dear, there is not a bonnet in the world that sports a better tied ribbon. The bow sits upon your goolie pouch like a wreath below a mast. The Queen herself has never had a finer flag hoisted in her honor." So that's them. Thank you. Thank you.